We'll go ahead and get started with our post-qualifying press conference. We're now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, who qualified second for Sunday's AAA Texas 500. This is Jimmie's second time starting on the front row, qualified on the pole for last fall.
Third or second?
Third.
I'd love to have second if you could. It'd help me out with our pit selection a lot.
Looked like you tapped the wall there, and I believe in turn 4. Talk about that qualifying lap.
Yeah, I was committed to the throttle off at turn 4 and just kind of ran out of room. And I hate to admit it, but at one point, I think I had my eyes shut because I knew there was going to be contact. I just didn't know how much. But I just grazed the wall and scratched the sticker on for the bumper cover and the tail light on the back of the car. Watching Brad's lap, he was in the throttle early as well and lost some time off of 4. And then when the 99 came through, he got his moment was in 1 and 2, but he had a really good 3 and 4, and was able to nip us both there. But I'm real proud of the lap. Even though it was exciting off of turn 4, as early as we went out to be able to get that lap time, I think it shows our car has a lot of speed in it.
We'll go ahead and open up for questions. If you could raise your hand, Lee.
Sorry they ran out of time earlier, but Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Does Matt Kenseth have a weakness in his arsenal? And, if so, have you identified it?
No, I mean, at this point, 3 races left, I can't say that there really is. And I'm not planning on it. I mean, I didn't have a lot of faith built in Martinsville being a weak track for him because he ran so good there in the spring. Certainly wouldn't hurt my feelings if he ran 15th all day, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case early on in the event, and he had a strong race. So I don't think there's a weakness for either team right now, and we're probably going to finish by each other. And if somebody has a mistake, I think that will be the deciding factor. But other than that, I think we're going to run right around each other for these next 3 races.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I was just curious. Last week when Biffle came up to you on pit road, obviously there was the moment where he jerks you around, but then immediately you didn't throw a punch, or you just kind of calmed him down and put your hand on his chest and tried to talk to him. In that moment, how did you kind of keep your composure and stay calm? Because I'm sure there had to be some temptation to grab him back or throw a punch or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know what kept me from swinging, to be honest. You never know how you're going to react until you're in those moments. After I realized who it was, because as you were standing there, I was caught off guard. I didn't know where it came from, and was shocked to see Greg because we were on track and roughing each other up pretty good for quite a few laps, and I thought that everything had simmered down and was gone. And at that point in time, I didn't know that his bumper cover is why he went to pit road. I saw him go to pit road, but I didn't know he was black flagged for it. So there was a lot of confusion there, and I was surprised to see that it was him. I didn't know who it would be, but I just didn't think it'd be him, because I thought if he was that mad, he would have spun me out on the racetrack. And then again, my lack of knowledge of knowing that his bumper cover was why he was so upset. I was talking to him about how we had contact in the first place, and the fact that I was inside of him going into turn 3, which instigated the next 5 or 6 exchanges that we had. So again, my mindset was on something else in general, and I was trying to collect my thoughts. And then truthfully, the most important thing in it all, after he grabbed me, the look in his eyes, I don't even think he looked at me. He was looking around me and saw all of you standing there. And I think he was just as shocked that he grabbed me like that as anyone. And I've been in a couple fights, not many, but he didn't want to fight. He was just pissed. So I think at the end of the day, that was really the energy, in that moment that let me stay calm and just kind of handle it how I did.
Bob?
Bob Parker, Sporting News. I assume you were all just worked on qualifying in practice. I mean, you only did 7 laps. Are you that confident in race setup, or is your plan always mostly qualifying first practice?
Well, we were here and tested last week? Yeah, something like that. We came here twice. I'm a bit confused which time we were on track. But we had very similar conditions on the second day of testing. And Chad loves to have a plan and to work through a plan, and we executed well during the test and had a very productive test. And coming back, we had a plan to work on just race runs today. I'm sorry, just qualifying runs today, and focus on race runs tomorrow. So it's nice being able to test, especially so close to race time, and things buttoned up in the car that you wanted to use, you test with, and all those kinds of things. So worked really well for us today.
Any other questions for Jimmie? Thank you very much. Best of luck.
Dustin?
Oh, one more, Dustin. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. So with all this testing and all this planning, what's the purpose of practicing tomorrow then? I mean, what more is there? I mean, I know you can always find more, but how do you approach tomorrow? What's the goal of tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, for the guys that tested, we'd love to see rain out to some degree, and you just have to line up and run. You know what you have under your car, but it'll be small changes. It'll be trends. The 20 had a tire issue when we were here, so I'll try to validate a longer run and make sure that there's no issues. So it's very small things, to be honest, and just to get a temperature on the track, and how its grip level is and what adjustments might work. So pretty fine adjustments tomorrow, though. We won't be changing A-frames and springs and all that kind of stuff. It'll be pretty minor. The engine shop would love us not to run.
Thank you
Cool.
very much,
Thank you.
Jimmie. We're now joined by the pole sitter for Sunday's AAA Texas 500, Carl Edwards, driver of the number 99 Aflac Ford. This is Carl's first career pole at Texas Motor Speedway. It's the third time he started on the front row. He's a three-time winner and the winningest Sprint Cup Series driver here at Texas Motor Speedway. And as a side note, the last two winners at Texas Motor Speedway have started on the pole.
Awesome.
So hopefully you can continue the trend.
We'll just call it a race right now, then. We're good to go.
Talk about
That's
your qualifying
great.
lap.
If I'd have known we were going to be that fast, I'd have shaved when we were doing some media. But now the guys have worked so hard. This is all about the guys. And we came here, picked this as one of our tracks to test. The guys came out here and sat for days in the rain trying to get some laps in. And then finally we got to come out here the week after that, tested for 3 days. I think we were the last team to load up and go home at the end of the 3 days. And my guys just put in a lot of hard work. The engine ran really well. I don't think the lap was that spectacular from a driving standpoint. I messed up a little bit off of turn 2, but turns 3 and 4 were great, and we got the pole. So just a lot of fun. It's so neat to be able to, you get a pole and you guys brought us to victory lane. All the guys get to celebrate. That's really a lot of fun. So big day for us.
Start with questions, Holly, and then Reed, and Wolfgang.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. I'll wait till you.
How's it going?
Good.
I can drink and listen at the same time. I just can't. Sorry. I was trying to think of something clever to say, but I'm no Ryan Newman. No, I'm trying. I gotta give him. That was clever in itself, wasn't it? Look at that. I didn't even mean to do it.
Now I've lost my
I should
train
have
of
said
thought.
Matt Kenseth. It's more fun to pick on him right now. But all right.
My question to you is, obviously, when the regular season ended, you were leading the points, and the chase probably hasn't gone exactly as you would like. However, this is a nice bright spot, and I imagine this
Yep.
is something to build on. If you could just kind of put it all.
That's nice. You're like a therapist right now. That's great. Yeah, I told Marty Smith we started off real slow and easy in the chase, then we backed it down from there. No, when the chase started, truly, we sat in that meeting and we thought, how about that? We've got 2 wins. We're leading the points. I mean, we can do this. We can go out and we can lead these last 10 races and win this thing. And it has not happened that way. Obviously, some guys have really stepped it up. I mean, for Jimmie and Matt and those guys, the 29 bunch, Kevin, I mean, all those guys have stepped up. Even, Jeff Gordon, he's back in the mix. So as a company, everyone has recognized that at Roush Fenway Racing. I spent an hour or two with Robbie Reiser this week, and that man is working as hard as any person I've ever seen to make sure that we can beat these guys, not just this year, but next year and beyond. So we recognize that we can be better and that we need to be better. And I think Greg's run at Martinsville last week was a turning point for us. I think that the speed that he had was huge, and I believe that that this pole and hopefully a solid run here by not just me but Ricky and Greg and the whole Ford RFR camp, I think that'll hopefully give those guys a little bit of something to show for all their hard work, because they've been really working hard at the shop. And yeah, we recognize this chase has not gone well, and that's spurred a lot of hard work. Thanks.
Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. After the wiggle off at turn 2, did you still think you had a shot at the pole, and do you think the late draw had any effect at all?
The late draw saved us there. That wiggle, the car got loose off of 2, and I definitely saw our pole hopes fade right there. I did not think it was going to happen. But then it went through 3 and 4 really, really well. I don't know that I'd have to go back and watch, but I don't know that anybody could have gone through there much better. That car was very fast through there, and the engine ran so well. Doug and the guys did a great job with the engine. So overall, I believe the car is a lot better than that lap even. And I know a lot of guys could go back and say they could run a faster lap. All of us we can always do that. But I believe our car really is even better than that. I'm really excited about race practice tomorrow and the race. Looks like the weather's going to be good, a lot like what we tested in, and hopefully we can apply all that stuff and really benefit from it.
We'll go to Wolfgang, then Jim.
Wolfgang Munzer from Germany, Ranchford Press Agency. After testing, you mentioned earlier and also yesterday practice, you know what kind of areas at the car has to be improved to drive
Yeah.
pole here?
Yes, so we have a lot of areas that we're working on as a group, some very specific things that we're working on to be better. The test here showed us that this track is very, very difficult for a number of reasons. And they're all good. The tire falls off very quickly. The track takes rubber, so it changes as we ran on it. The track changed a lot. I think you're going to see one of these races on Sunday where there's guys running right on the white line and there's guys running right on the outside wall, trying to make time. And I think there will be 4 or 5 distinct grooves in the corners. And that's one of the biggest things we learned in testing. And it actually made it very difficult to test. But the 3 days and Jimmie's plan, I believe, kept us going on the right track. And obviously it paid off. I mean, there's nothing tougher than to win a pole, especially at a place like this during the chase when everybody's got their best stuff out there. So we're all very proud of this.
Jim.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. You mentioned just a few minutes ago about, I think, talking with Robbie about how he's already working ahead towards next season. You got 3 tracks left. You've won here 3 times. Roush car is typically very good at Homestead. You won the spring race at Phoenix. What is the opportunity here for you at the end of this season, and what would you like to accomplish before in these last 3 races?
I'd like to win the championship. I don't know if that's in the cards, but I can tell you that we will go to these last 3 races to win all 3 races. I mean, there is nothing we are not bringing to the racetrack equipment-wise, effort-wise right now. So we're just coming here to win, and for us, it's really about gearing up for next season. I've never believed in momentum. I've never, you guys have proved me wrong. And so I guess what I'm saying is that we would really like to, no matter what the points situation, to finish this season strong, because I believe it will help us to get started next year. And there are a lot of things changing, but overall, to keep you guys motivated, keep everybody looking forward, I think these final 3 races wins would be great. Yeah, I couldn't pick a better 3 tracks to go to. I mean, I love racing here. We tested, had a great race. Obviously, we ran really well at Phoenix. And then Homestead, for some reason, that track is just, it perfectly suits me and the way our cars work and the engines. So yeah, they should be really good. At the very least, we'll have a good time. I mean, we'll have some fun, which is something it's easy to forget that's a big part of it,
Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. You're a little apprehensive when Jimmie took over the team at the beginning of the year. What would be, how would you describe your relationship now?
Well, I wouldn't say I was apprehensive, but I definitely was curious to see how it was going to go. You never know. You never know how things are going to work, but I've thought a lot about it as I've worked with Jimmie and as I've watched how he works. He is the definition of a racer. I mean, he wants to win and wants to beat all of these guys every week so badly. I mean, he wears it right there on his sleeve every week, and I don't think you could choose to go to battle with a better guy. I mean, he's awesome. Well, what's very interesting about Jimmie is that he's a cross between both. I mean, him and Bob Osborne were very similar in a number of ways. They are similar in a number of ways. They're very methodical. I think if Jimmy Finnick had come on the scene 30 years later, he would have gone to engineering school. He would be an engineer, and the way he's one of those guys that understands how everything works so well that he can, if there's any weakness that he has, he will, he will find some way to fill it and make up for it by using his engineers or asking folks for help. He's a guy that has, he's not a prideful guy. He just goes out and gets the job done no matter what it takes, and it's pretty spectacular. I don't know that he's much different than Bob, though. They were both guys that were just problem solvers, but they came from a different spot, but both very good problem solvers.
Stan.
Hey, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. I know that at most tracks, qualifying has nothing to do with what you have to do during the race. But unless my memory is going really bad, Texas is kind of close. How close was your qualifying to what you really need in the race?
Well, I think the difference between Texas and some of the other mile and a halves is the pavement and the way it works with the tires. And if you saw a lot of guys in qualifying today were able to get the cars sideways and still keep a ton of speed. And so I don't know why it's this way, but it feels like the tracks that are like that are a little more, it feels a little more old school, and generally your qualifying effort is a better reflection of your race car. Because, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because there's more mechanical grip in play. Maybe it's the drivability of the car has to be there. But right now I'm believing it. It really matters how you qualify. Whether or not you're going to run well at Texas. That's what I'm preaching right now. I hope.
Any other questions, Carlotta?
Hi, Carl. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Carlotta Schmidtgen, Hill Country Happenings Magazine. Talking about you and Jimmie's relationship, when he says, let's go ahead and bring you into pit now, say green flag, stop. What if you have a gut feeling that you want to stay? Do you ever get those feelings like they're getting ready to have a caution, I really want to stay out instead? Who has the final say in you coming in?
Depends on how close to the end of the race it is. Because if it's real close to the end of the race, I know he'll still be really, really mad, and so I'll generally just go with whatever he says. But early in the race, I might, I might hope he gets over it. But it's his call, and I'll never forget one meeting I had. It was with Chad. Chad Norris took on the crew chief role when Bob got sick, and it was at Bristol. And he said, come to pit road, and I did not. And he was so mad at me. And after the race, he, Jack Roush, and Robbie Reiser, and I screwed it all up. We ran out of gas. It was terrible. I mean, I should have come. And they had a meeting, and they explained to me all the reasons why you have to do what the crew chief says. And it's because they have they have a better view of what's going on. And in Jimmie's case, he has so much experience. If he says to do something, it might be for reasons that I'd never thought of. So I generally do what Jimmie says.
Any
It's a
other
good
questions? Congratulations, Carl. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good weekend.